While the idea of attracting birds to your garden can be a lovely and peaceful addition to your outdoor space, the risks associated with bird feeders, especially when it comes to infection, should not be underestimated. Many of us overlook the potential health hazards that improperly maintained or poorly designed bird feeders can pose to both the birds and even ourselves. The risk of spreading diseases among birds is a serious concern. And if you don't take the right precautions, a simple bird feeder could unwittingly become a breeding ground for harmful bacteria and viruses. Birds that visit feeders are often packed into tight spaces, especially during the colder months when food is scarce. This increased proximity can facilitate the rapid spread of contagious diseases like avian influenza, salmonella, and trichomoniasis. Unfortunately, many bird feeders are designed without considering how easily germs can transfer from one bird to another, leaving them vulnerable to infections. It's a dangerous cycle. Birds infected at feeders can spread those infections to others, potentially decimating local bird populations. Even more troubling, some bird feeders are made of materials or have designs that make cleaning and maintenance difficult. Failing to clean feeders regularly allows for the accumulation of mold, feces, and decaying food, which can attract disease-causing pathogens. These pathogens can then easily transfer to the birds that come to feed, creating a dangerous health hazard. When feeders aren't cleaned often, they essentially become hotbeds for infection. Some bird species are more susceptible to these diseases than others, and some of the infections can spread so quickly that they can cause large-scale die-offs in certain areas. In fact, it's not just the birds that are at risk. Pathogens can even be passed from infected birds to humans, particularly if you come into contact with contaminated feeders or surfaces where infected birds have been. This is why it's critical to handle feeders with care, ensuring they are regularly sanitized and checked for any mold or other contaminants that could harm wildlife or humans. In some cases, well-meaning people may choose to feed birds more frequently during extreme weather, assuming that it will help them survive. However, this can unintentionally cause more harm than good. In reality, supplemental feeding can change the natural feeding habits of birds and make them more dependent on human intervention. This dependency can lead to overcrowding at feeders, increasing the likelihood of disease transmission. Not only does this present a health risk, but it also disrupts the birds' natural foraging behaviors and could affect their long-term survival. While it's important to note that there are ways to reduce these risks, such as using specially designed feeders that limit crowding and facilitate easier cleaning, the best approach might simply be to reconsider the practice of feeding wild birds altogether. Nature has a way of balancing itself, and while it's tempting to intervene by providing extra food, it can have unintended consequences. Moreover, we should be cautious about providing food that's not suited to the specific dietary needs of the birds in our area, as improper food can contribute to health problems, including the spread of disease. Ultimately, while bird feeders can bring a sense of joy and beauty to your garden, they are not without their risks. The potential for the spread of infection among birds and the possibility of harming local wildlife is a serious issue that shouldn't be ignored. Without proper maintenance, the very activity we hope will help these animals can, in fact, contribute to their decline. Therefore, it's crucial to be aware of the responsibilities that come with feeding wild birds and to carefully consider whether the risks outweigh the benefits.